Hey guys, welcome to Move to Action. Hey, I love you so much. Sorry about last week, that's totally my fault. But I have something special for you that I'm really excited to share. Remember, Move to Action is a lifestyle. It's a way to think, it's a way to act, it's a way to live our life. So that we can, maybe today, we can accomplish the great things that God has called us to, but we can move to action slowly, and before we know it, we will accomplish more than we ever thought we could imagine. So, hey, do me a favor, stick with me this whole video, because at the end we're doing an exercise I think will really set you free. I was reading my quiet time this week, and we're in Jeremiah. Jeremiah, maybe not the most exciting book of the Bible, but I read this, and it just, God brought some stuff together that I want to share with you. In Jeremiah 46:17, it says this: There will exclaim, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, is only a loud noise. He has missed his opportunity. That right there, Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, is only a loud noise. Egypt is only a loud noise. And I just got to thinking, what are all the things in our life that they're just loud noises? They seem so big and they seem so real, and they seem and they stop us. They stop us from moving in to what God has for us. They stop us from being even maybe aggressive or going after something. But there's these loud noises, and maybe they don't have the authority or the power to stop us. But since they're a loud noise, they distract us enough to keep us from what God has for us, to keep us from moving to action. So this week in FP Students, we did a message on unforgiveness. And it was massive, the freedom that God had in the room. And I realized one of the biggest loud noises in our hearts and our life and in our mind is unforgiveness. And guys, listen, when I say unforgiveness, if I asked you, who's somebody you need to forgive? I guarantee you have somebody that comes to mind. But let me tell you this, I would put all the money I have really on this, that the person that we need to forgive most is us. The person who's not you attract the most, the person who's distracted the most, the person who says the worst things about you is you. So not only do we have to forgive people in our lives, but we also need to learn how to forgive ourselves. So let me read this verse. Man, there's so much power and authority in this. Ephesians 4:31-32 says this right here. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, brawling, slandering, and every other form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as Christ has forgiven you. So it says get rid of these things: bitterness, rage, anger, brawling, slander, right? Be kind and compassionate, forgiving. Now here's the deal. Listen, I would say a lot of us find more bitterness, rage, and anger, fighting, slandering, than we find compassion, right? And why is that? More than we find tenderness. Why is that? It's because we can only pick one or the other. We can only live the world's way, which is bitterness, rage, anger, or God's way, which is kind and compassionate. I know we would rather live kind and compassionate lives. How do we transition from one to the other? Forgiveness. That's why it's in this passage. Forgive each other, just as Christ has forgiven you. Listen, now some of us think this unforgiveness, this anger I have inside, if I let it go, then that person can be off the hook, then they're never going to pay for what they did. Guys, God's got something better for you. God, let vindication, let judgment be God's, not ours. Guys, being upset with somebody not forgiving them so that they may be punished, that's like drinking poison yourself, hoping it hurts them. God's got something better for you. How do you cross over from the bitterness, rage, anger into kindness and compassion and freedom? With forgiveness. So let me tell you two things about forgiveness. I want you to write them down. I want you to receive these things. Number one, forgiveness frees. Forgiveness frees. Forgiveness is the gateway from the world's way to God's way, from that bitterness, rage, anger, fighting, to kindness and compassion and freedom. Forgiveness is the gateway into that. Forgiveness frees. And guys, listen, it's not up to us to punish other people for what they've done to us. Listen, you're above that. You're not. Your life is not about what other people have done to you. So we talked about this in Move to Action, that circumstances don't dictate how you live, move, and breathe. Right? God's mission, God's call on your life. That's what dictates how we live, how we think. So forgiveness frees. Listen, the next thing, and this is a challenge. We forgive because Jesus forgave. That's how it ends there. Just as Christ has forgiven you. Just as Christ has forgiven you. Because some of us are thinking, Zach, you don't know what they did to me. I was molested. I was left. I was abandoned. You don't know what they said about me. You don't know the rumors they spread. Listen, the reason that Jesus said we forgive because Jesus forgave is because that's our barometer. Because God didn't want us to have an excuse, a reason not to forgive. We have to forgive because God knows that's our gateway into freedom. So we forgive just as we were forgiven, because our gateway into freedom, originally into salvation, was Jesus' forgiveness of us. So our day-to-day freedom comes not only with us receiving that forgiveness that Jesus gave, but also forgiving others. Guys, you can do this. So your move to action step this week, what I want you to do is I want you to forgive. If you need to call somebody, text somebody, that's fine. I want you to do it and forgive those people. If you need to forgive yourself, that's fine, but we have to do it. Guys, who do you need to forgive? Who is it that's done you wrong? Who is it that you have, that whenever you get introspective, that they come to mind and it brings pain to you? Guys, forgive them. Let it go. There's something better for you. I love you so much. Be free this week. Change the world this week. I'll see you next week. I love you. Have a good one.